You are listening to the IFH Podcast Network. For more amazing filmmaking and screenwriting podcasts, just go to ifhpodcastnetwork.com.
It's March of 2023. Someone told me the other day that 2022 sounds really futuristic, but 2023 just sounds made up. Do you agree? Are we in the realm of the years that just are just nonsense, or does it all sound futuristic? I can't tell. Also, it's already March, for Christ's sakes, and the year just started. This is ridiculous. Can somebody slow it down?
I feel like because of the whole COVID thing that 2 years of my life disappeared. So like time has no meaning for me anymore.
Right.
And so it's been, I don't know, maybe this is a year. Maybe this is all part of one long year that lasted 3 years. I don't know.
No, I feel that. I thought that 2020 sounded so futuristic to me, and I had such high hopes, and it was such a shitty year that I like to have no comment on questions like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I've noticed? Speaking of just time in COVID or whatever, the things that have changed, I get irrationally angry at red lights now, and that developed over COVID. I think when we were driving around and there was nobody on the roads,
I have no traffic to deal with. Yeah,
but now there's people back, and like when I get stopped at a red light, I'm like, God damn it! And I'm like, why am I getting so mad about this? I used to
because time is precious.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's it.
Because we were trapped in our homes I was for like 2 years.
Yeah. I don't know that, and I can't sleep without pills. I have to just down a bunch of pills.
I get it. It was a rough time. I had to relearn how to make small talk.
Oh,
okay.
Because for that whole time that I was just in my house with the same like 5 people, like I didn't have to make small talk. And if they got boring, I could just pull out my phone.
I think you can still do that.
But now I got to chit chat with people and ask about the weather. And I was like, I don't remember how to do this.
I think you should just ask them about a time when they hated themselves.
Yes. Let's get real.
Just jump the gun.
Yeah.
Just get straight into it. Just be like, tell me about that time.
That's
you
true.
really wanted to, I don't know, something deep.
The most embarrassing, the most secondhand embarrassment thing that you can possibly imagine.
That should just be your conversation starter.
I love that. Who cares about the weather?
Like you said, time is precious, so skip the chit chat and get to the real stuff. Like, come on, we got to go.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, what are we watching right now? What's interesting? TVs, shows, maybe a podcast or something you're listening to. What's entertaining you right now? Either one of you.
Oh, I should pull out my letterbox. That's the only way I remember what I've been watching for real. Been watching a lot of older films. So I was telling you all earlier that I was watching Singing in the Rain.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
What else have I been watching? Come back to me because I'm going to pull up my letterbox.
Okay.
So before I say this, I have been watching a lot of things, not just this one thing, but it would be wrong of me not to mention that I've watched the Willow TV series on Disney Plus 8 times.
Yeah,
all the way through. I've watched
post about it a lot.
I'm so sorry if you follow me on Twitter.
No, that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's
it's
fine.
all I've been talking about it. So I grew up with that movie, right? And
me too,
watched it all constantly. And we never got any continuation of the story. And I was always kind of sad about that. And then when the show came out, the first couple episodes, I was like, this is like kind of not what I was expecting. This is a little different. And it's like focused on the younger cast. And then I realized, of course it is. Like it should be. Like not everything has to be about me and my middle-aged thoughts, right? This is a movie for kids, and so it should appeal to younger people. And once I embraced that, I was like, I love these younger people. They're so funny. The show is so silly, and it has this almost like this 80s spirit. Like I feel like fantasy and it's fine. This is fine, but it came to a point where everything's so dark, and it's very Game of Thrones. And like this is a show where there are stakes, but like in general, things are going to work out in the end, and good is going to triumph over evil. But I think even that has a little bit more complexity than it would in the 1980s. But it had that flavor of like, this is a fun adventure. And even if things get real shitty, it's going to be okay in the end. And I think that's just something I really needed in my life.
Yes.
And so it's like comfort food for me. And that's why I keep returning to it, I think, is the whole show and the film. It feels like a blanket that I can wrap myself in. And I just really love it.
I love that. It reminds me of this show. Amazon canceled it, but it was called Paper Girls.
I've heard so many good things about that.
It was fucking fantastic. And it was just so enjoyable to watch because, like you said, even when they were going through it, you knew it was going to be okay. And I've been watching The Last of Us, but I had to stop.
I can't. It's too
After
sad.
the third episode,
It's too sad.
not to keep bringing up dark shit, but I felt myself getting into a mood that I hadn't really been in since the end of 2020. And I was like, I didn't know. It was Monday after the the episode had premiered. It was the episode with the little boy that was deaf. And I was really depressed.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out why I felt so depressed. And I saw someone tweeting about how they were going to have to stop watching The Last of Us because every episode, even though it's brilliant, like not telling the writers that they have to change a thing, but realizing like that it's called The Last of Us for a reason, but they get so like emotionally attached to those characters, but the outcome is going to be not so good. And I was like, oh my God, is this why I feel this way? Because I'm watching this show every Sunday and I like zombie. I think I've told you on your podcast before how like my life mission is watching like every like zombie movie and TV show.
And you did it. And you can let it go.
But I'm like, but this one's actually good. And I can't watch it. I need hope right now. The space that I'm in, even with my horror, like I want a little bit of joy, just a little bit. And I don't know if that show has it.
I feel like I still haven't recovered from like whatever the 2020 and 2021 were. And I am deep into my escapism right now. Like I need escapism. I need hope. And I'm the same. Like I know The Last of Us is great. It sounds amazing. It's really well done. I just like, I cannot emotionally go there right now.
It's a lot. And I mean, saying that it's a lot is kudos to them because the actors are amazing. The writing is amazing. Set design is amazing. And so it just really makes you feel something I'm just not really in a place to feel right now.
It's too good.
I've been watching, I'm way behind the curve on this. Ted Lasso.
I've been rewatching that because I watched it when I had COVID.
Oh,
that was my COVID show. I watched all 2 seasons while I was stuck in my room for 8 or 10 days. And
speaking of just heartwarming shows that things are gonna, even though, but I'd heard people talk about some of you can see all my scarves that are behind me here. I'm a big soccer guy. I was like, you haven't seen Ted Lasso? I was like, no, I have not seen it yet, but we finally watched it. And I was like, all right, this is great. But it's like a warm hug every episode.
It's uncynical.
Yeah, but it goes. It does. It's not afraid to go to some dark areas.
Yes, for sure.
It's not afraid to be like, look, life kind of sucks, but like we kind of together we can make it okay. If we really work on it. And and now season 3 is about to start, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But that's a great show. I mean,
it is.
Chuck's like, hey, welcome to 2 years ago or whatever. But everybody
though.
go watch Ted Lasso.
I love that they tackle panic attacks, which is a thing that a lot of people experience. And I feel like it's more in the consciousness now. Like people talk about it more openly. But when I years ago when I was in film school, actually I was in grad school, I was having panic attacks. I was living in Chicago and I was having them like on the train every morning, and then they were just more and more, but I didn't know what they were. I'd never heard of them. I was like, am I dying? Like, am I losing my mind? And like, I'm so glad people are talking about it and putting it in media so that it's like, oh, this is a thing that happens to people and you can talk to someone about it and cope with it and they don't have to live like this. So I was really happy that they showed what that's like to be, I don't want to get too deep into it in case is it spoilers for Ted Lasso? From like 2 years ago?
No, I think it's
bring up like
fine.
a theme.
Yeah.
But to have
you've
a
been
character,
warned, listener.
To have a character like Ted Lasso who is so, I think that's the thing is when you're so positive and you're trying to take care of everybody else's around you, you neglect yourself, and it just kind of lives and festers under there. And I just love that was a place they went.
Yeah,
it was very relatable.
Totally,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need a show like that to give you a warm hug. And it's actually as a soccer person, I know where they're coming from. There's been several soccer players over the years, including a U.S. national team player, Landon Donovan, who quit for a long time, and people were making fun of him. He was like, "Oh, my mental health," and everybody's like, "Oh, your mental health." Like, and now people are finally talking about that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, he played a game where people screamed at him and called him names, you know,
That's
like
hard,
every
man.
day, every week or whatever for years. And then he was like, I'm just gonna take some time off. And then people made fun of him for it. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a game. Like, I know I take it very seriously when the game's on and, you know, I'm like screaming and yelling. But then you're like, all right, there's a bunch of dudes kicking a ball, like, or ladies kicking a ball. Like, let's just, you know, let's take things into perspective here. And
Yeah.
if you're feeling ill, go take some time off. It's fine.
Right.
We'll be
Totally.
okay.
Yeah.
That's the magic of that show, though. Like, I am not a fan of soccer. I don't care. I don't give a shit about any kind of sport
yeah,
of
you
any
don't have
kind.
to like, yeah, you don't have to like sports at all.
But when
for
they
that,
are
yeah.
playing, when they're playing a game in that show, like I suddenly care.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
power of those characters that I'm like, I need them to win.
Yeah.
You know, because
Oh,
it's emotionally, I'm so invested. You know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last night, as we record this, you two had a great reading. I hear at roll call. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah.
We didn't even know that we were there.
It took us a minute to
I
figure that out.
I changed my hair like every day. So it was a new person that walked in the door.
But I knew, I was like, I know this person, and I literally saw you last night, and I'm
Yes.
so glad that I got to talk to you and tell you how much I loved your story.
Thank you. I appreciate
It was
that.
amazing.
I'm going to tell you all. So I was sitting there and I was watching this story. I thought it was the COVID love story at first. And I was like, oh, this is a really good story about COVID. And then out of nowhere, all these supernatural things start happening. And I was like, wait, I actually really do love this. It was so great. And I loved how the thing that kind of kept your main character centered when the alien was trying to, I guess, kidnap her. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like true feelings can or confession can save you.
Yeah.
Was it honesty? What was
Yes.
that?
Well, so yes, it is. I did write it during COVID. And I wanted to write about those feelings of like loneliness and isolation without writing about COVID. I was like,
And
I
that's
never,
what I loved.
never want to write about COVID. Let's have aliens invade instead, and everybody has to stay in their homes because the aliens are here. But then I was like, we always think about aliens as these like little guys that come out of a ship, and like, what if they can be anything? What if they're like an organism that are microscopic and they're particles in the air and they can like get inside of you and under your skin, and like, so I think what's happening at the end is that they're taking her away, but sort of offering the promise of belonging or something that's not loneliness. And I think that character is very lonely and wants to belong and wants to be loved. And so that's what she's being enticed with. And the thing that pulls her back is a real person who does love her.
And his honesty.
Yeah.
Which was so interesting because both of ours dealt with loneliness.
They really did. And that's what I found so, and I was telling you this earlier, the thing that was, in addition to the fact that your script is so funny, and I immediately liked all of the characters, was that it was funny, and then you really got us at the end with the truth, with the loneliness, like how lonely it is to try to connect with other people.
Right. And how lonely... It's called A Secondhand Lonely, the name of my film. And basically, like, it's okay to be lonely by yourself. But a lot of times with dating, we try to push our loneliness off on other people instead of, like, handling it ourselves.
Yes.
And so at the end, the person's just like, my loneliness is mine, but your loneliness was created by someone else. And it's a quote from a Toni Morrison book.
Wow.
And I just revisit the quote a lot because I
Yeah.
struggle with my own loneliness.
Yeah.
And so I came up with this comedic like script, but at the very end I like put in this Toni Morrison quote, and then that's like the end.
Which is, I think, such a wonderful approach to the story of like dating, because like that's a thing that people write about all the time, like dating and how hard it is to find the right person. But like I think that's like something we all can relate to, because you can be in a relationship and still feel lonely.
Right. And that's what that was more so about. It was like, it's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to be in a relationship, but how do you like handle your loneliness?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it was a really good table read.
It was a wonderful night. The actors and all and I have to take a moment to thank the actors that were in the reading of my script, Afterglow, because they're the ones that really, I think, made it work. They made it.
They were brilliant, y'all.
You know, they made everything work, and I love them very much. And Torin and Michelle and Laura, who read the woman in the video, but all the actors, like all the performers. Mm-hmm. Every story was so different. This reading was, I think you said, was at Roll Call, right? Yeah. Roll Call Theater. And everybody's story was so different. All of the performers were so wonderful. And I always walk away from these things like just feeling amazed by the amount of talent that is in this community. Mm-hmm. Like, we're literally like bursting at the seams with creativity and imagination and talent. And, I'm always like speechless afterwards and just amazed.
It was great. I'm really thankful for Roll Call.
Yeah, I feel like I spend a lot of time there these days with the screenings and the readings, and they're doing stand up and improv, and it's a really great. I've met a lot of people there. It's a great place to be, and it helps me think less about the anxiety of like, how do I get a thing made?
Right.
Because I spend a lot of time having anxiety about that.
It's a real feeling. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do that reading because I was like, well, I'm so used to doing table reads like 2 weeks before I get ready to film something. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like an imposter when Jono first asked me if I like wanted to do a reading for this, because I was like, well, I'm not making it. I was like, it'd be cool to make it.
But
I was like, but I don't have any money. And he was I was like,
because I want to see it.
I know. But I spoke to him. I spoke to Madison, who is at Roll Call a lot as well. Another really brilliant, talented writer, director, screenwriter in the Atlanta area. Yeah. And they were like, no, this is how, like, just do it. Like, don't listen to your imposter, whatever, just come. And like, just being in that space and with other brilliant artists, and just being able to receive love for something that you wrote is really cool. Like,
yes,
as a writer, it was cool because it doesn't have to be fully made to be appreciated.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was like really, really cool.
And there's something wonderful about, it's very scary. Like, I was very sweaty the entire time doing that in front of an audience, because usually it's like we wrote it and now we're working on a thing and people have agreed, they've signed up despite whatever might be flawed in my script. People have signed up for this and now we're going to make it. And then you wait all the way until it's done and you've tooled around with it until people actually weigh in on it, you know? But at a reading like this, it's like, okay, now like I get to hear, like, are the jokes funny? Are the jokes landing? Are the emotional moments landing? There are several scenes in the film that from last night where I was like, are they gonna accept this? Are they gonna go with this? And to get acknowledgement and confirmation that, okay, it is working. Or even, let's, on the other hand, if it's not working, we're like, oh, that joke was, wow, nobody laughed at that, you know, like that, you know, like you can go back and you have a chance to change that before you actually shoot it. It's so valuable.
And it's not just your actors, like you said, that have signed up for this, because they might laugh at something because, you know, they're a part of it. But when you're in front of strangers who
they
don't
have
know who
no
the
stake.
fuck you are,
they're just like going to give you their honest opinion.
I was like, oh, this is great.
I mean, honestly, they're there. They paid money, and they're like, "All right, make me laugh, clown."
Oh yeah,
I got my $10 or whatever. You better make me laugh.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of
I want to feel something.
Yeah. When I did 8-bit Bloodsport, my read through my feature, there's a significant amount of time before the jokes really start coming. It's a lot of heavy stuff in front, and that I was I remember being very definitely worried about that. Just like, all right, that first laugh's going to hit. Right, and it did. Oh my god. Okay, and then they continued.
You're like, we're good.
But you're right. There was a lot of places I was like, no, that didn't work. Yep. You know, and just and not just having a bunch of people on like a Zoom call. It's just not the same thing.
It's
just not the same thing.
I'd never done
And
it before.
strangers that have no
Yeah,
reason to tell. They're
care.
not trying
No.
to placate your ego. They're not trying to
No.
let you down gently. They're like, this is funny. It's not funny.
Yeah.
This is gripping me emotionally. This is boring me. Like, whatever. Like, they're honestly feeling those things in the moment. And it's like, we should be doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's why it's important. I don't
Yeah.
know a space like that before that was as
Not really.
inviting
Yes.
of indie artists.
Absolutely. Yeah.
'Cause,
Because
you had Alliance and then you had, I don't know.
yeah, I feel like most of the time those readings, like you said, happen kind of behind closed doors and not publicly. And it's really valuable to do them publicly.
Yep.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening that hasn't done it yet, and you're thinking, "Oh, I don't know," just go do it. Just sign up. It's terrifying, but
is.
and like, "Oh, I don't know actors. There's a million of them in town."
And they'll
Just-
help you.
I didn't
think.
know
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah, roll call will help you.
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
not know
Yeah.
actors. Funny enough, I asked Jono to help me because I don't really know actors like that. And so I was like, I need like a basketball player, like good looking black dude. I was like, I don't know anyone like that. And so Jono sent me some people. I was like, okay, I'll go with this actor. I'd been emailing him, but I've also been really busy. So I didn't realize that he never emailed me back.
Oh no! You were like, he's on board.
So yeah, so I'm just
Why
thinking
wouldn't he
he's
be?
right. I'm just thinking he's on board. I'm like, I'm sure Jono's talked to him. So after like the third table read, I was just like, oh wait, this guy still is not here.
Oh no!
And we are about to go up. And so at the very last minute, Mandel, who was in my reading, is a really funny stand-up comedian in Atlanta. His friend was sitting next to him, and I just asked his friend on a whim, like, could you like read for this character, please?
He was great.
And he did, and I mean, it worked out very well because he was funny as hell.
Yeah,
he was so funny. So even if you don't know actors or your
They
actors
might be
don't
sitting next
show
to
up,
you.
they might just be in there. Or if you're an actor, or if you're anything, it's just really cool to go to and to be in a space like that amongst other people who are interested in film as much as you are.
Oh,
I
yeah.
met so many students who like came up to me and was just like, oh, I'm just so happy I was here. And I was like, damn, like I wish there was something like this when I was your age,
Yes.
where I could be around someone at like a point in our careers that we're at that they can kind of look up to, because there was nothing like that in Atlanta when I was 20.
Yeah, no, it felt a lot more isolated or separate. Those kind of community spaces didn't exist.
No.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, and to your point about actors, like I also like going to these things because I have like, I have a known kind of pool of actors that I know. And I'm going and I'm seeing other people and they're using actors that I don't know or I've never seen before, or and now it's just like I'm like, wow, like it's almost like I've actually got like a digital sort of board that I have headshots of actors. I keep adding them and I'm like, these are people that I'd like to work with eventually. And so like I'll go to these things and I'll be like, oh my God, another one of
Well,
these.
if you want to like
you know.
send me your two actors from last night.
Okay.
I
are
don't really
wonderful.
have anything right now, but like if something ever comes up, like I want to go to them. They were brilliant.
They were lovely and so wonderful to work with.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
That's why I started this format actually, and it was because of yours and Ava's, and then Madison was there at the from Atlanta to Atlanta from what is it?
From Atlanta with Love.
Jesus, there you go.
Yeah.
That you guys invited me. You and Ava
Yes.
invited me last year.
The screening.
Yeah. And I remember specifically going there, and Madison was showing a film, and I was like, I didn't know they knew each other. And then I thought, well, it was just that's how it came up with the format, was specifically from that screening. I was like, well, I should introduce
That's
people
wonderful.
who don't know each other, but it happened the night before anyway.
Well, this is amazing though, because we were in the reading, but we didn't actually talk to each other afterwards, and so
No.
now we were able to actually meet and connect because of the show, which
And
is
then I
wonderful.
saw you're having another a second annual
That is correct.
Screening for that, which is awesome.
Yeah, on March 29th, Ava and I are doing another From Atlanta with Love. We've got different films. One of those is going to be Torn Together, which Ava is one of the writers. Ava Francis Chang and Melissa Knapp, who directed it. And let's see who else we got in there. We got Jenna Canal. We've got Leasing Spaces in there. We've got Ebony Blanding has a film. So we've got like a variety of different, and they're all from like different, not all of them are like films that just came out. Like, I think we think about it more like, it's almost like a mixtape where you're like, what's a thing that I've seen or a filmmaker that I know that's out there that like I love? And you're like putting together your favorite mixtape. And, and Jono and Madison, they have a film there as well. So we're just kind of putting together this mixtape. And it's just, we just want to sort of celebrate some films and filmmakers that we love. And so that was kind of the motivation. And I'm premiering a new short film,
nice.
in it, A Grim Diagnosis.
Okay.
Which is about, a couple, and they've been having a little trouble with their son in school, and so they go to this child therapist, and he is diagnosed as a comedian. He's a comedian. So that's the premise. How do we treat this? What's the prognosis?
Oh my god, that's my favorite thing already.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Wow.
So,
I'm obsessed.
and Sarah Stevens. Sarah Stevens is the other filmmaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, one of your films, I think, won at the South Georgia Film Festival.
Yeah, yes, I heard that. Could this have been an email? Which I'm thrilled that we were in the lineup. Unfortunately, I was not able to make the drive down there on Friday to Valdosta, but we're really honored that we were a part of it.
Yeah,
yeah, and Ava's in that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I was down there this weekend for the festival. I've been past 3 years, and they always invite me down to a live show, and it was interesting. Got to do a pitch fest, which they had some executives there to listen to pitches and stuff, and I don't know. How did
that go? Were you pitching?
I did. Melissa Simpson, Film Impact Georgia.
Yes.
You know, I'm on the board, whatever, and she said, you should pitch. And I was like, well, I'm actively doing something, sure, like right now, but I don't think these people are looking for it. And she's like, do it. And I said, okay. She kind of bullied me into it. And it's funny, I knew they weren't looking for the specific. I have a medical procedural show I'm trying to sell.
Ooh, people love that though.
Yeah,
I know.
Like that is
classic.
that is content that everybody always wants.
I know. But they didn't like it.
Oh, that's too bad.
And then I was like, well, I did this for a favor, and now I feel like shit that I just got turned down. But
pitching is scary.
It sucks.
Especially those pitch fests. You get up there and like, I feel like I'm going to get tomatoes thrown at me. I haven't either because I feel like I'm going to get.
I thought you were like a pro
I'm
at
imagining.
it.
I'm not. No, I feel like I'll just get. I'm worried I'm going to get tomatoes thrown at me. You know what I mean?
Tomato.
Exactly.
Yeah, I went last too, which you have to sit there the whole time.
No.
And I am not low on confidence and ego. I know,
Yeah.
But even me, like going last and listening to all these people, and some of them are doing good, and I'm just like, all right, can I just go ahead and just fucking do this thing, and then finally get up, and they're just
stressful.
like, oh, okay, cool, thanks.
Wait, is it like a gladiator style? Are they giving you like a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I actually would have preferred that. I think that would have been better.
That's
Instead
tough.
they're like,
Funny.
we're going to go to the secret room, but I wish if they had just cut me like the crook where they like pull you off the stage.
just like
that would have been. I would have been like, all right, fair enough. But no, they were just like,
that's intense.
they're like, oh, instead of one winner, we're going to have 5. Oh, and Chuck, you still didn't win anything.
No, they're like, we expanded the pool and you're still not in it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Well, you know what? It wasn't their cup of tea. That doesn't mean it's not
it
good.
wasn't. I know,
Yeah.
and that was the problem. I knew specifically. I was like, there's no way they're going to pick this up. They're looking for like kind of indie features, and they picked up. This lady had a really good pitch for a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
And
That's what always gets picked up. Though.
And it was really good, and that's what they were looking for.
Yeah,
and
that's
but
what
I was
everyone's
like,
looking for.
I was like, I'm just kind of doing this, and now I got to drive home. Like, well, all right.
Bummer. But you did it. You did it.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Pitching really sucks. It's not my forte at all. Talking about yourself is always a nightmare. And they ask weird questions and stuff, and I'm just like, why? Then I get in my head about it.
I've never done like a pitch competition, but even like you said, when you're like pitching, they ask the most like random questions,
Oh,
and I'm
man.
like, what the fuck are you asking me?
I feel like in theory, I feel like I would be like I actually feel like I'm pretty good at like describing concisely what a film is about, like in a couple of sentences. Like I feel like I've got that down. I also feel like I can talk about myself endlessly. So I feel like in theory I would be good at it, but there's something, it's that fear of rejection like in front of many people that really I think is the wall that I can't get through, I think.
Yeah.
That keeps me from going to these things.
Yeah. I'm also pitching
But do people get money this way? Like, has anybody ever gone to one of these things and actually gotten funding?
I don't think so.
I don't know. The winner of the Pitch Fest at South Georgia Film Festival got $250 and the chance to talk to them about how to develop.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Industry connections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's worthy.
Yeah. And I know, we'll say, like, nothing against the judges or anything. It has nothing to do with them. You could sign up and just, like, if you have a script and a pitch deck, which I have both, you could just send it to them and they're going to check it out, you know, and just give feedback, which is always helpful.
Oh, that's
very
helpful.
It's really cool. Yeah. I just, you know.
I feel like I'm terrible at pitch decks.
Oh, I'm awful.
Like, I'm like, I don't want to pull random actors' faces. I don't want to do that.
I'm terrible.
Oh, right.
I'm at the
hard.
point I like have to just pay someone to do it.
Yeah.
Not always though. Like I recently started directing in the commercial space, and it's all. I mean, I've recently
All
been getting
pitch decks.
rejected from the commercial space, is what I should say. I pitched one commercial that did really, really well, and met with like 5 different like agencies, whatever. Been rejected from everything I've pitched on since then. But because
But that's exciting.
it's still cool. Somebody won't direct me soon. But because it is so much pitching, like for really big projects, the agency I'm signed to will hire someone to make the pitch deck for me.
God, that's
but
what I
most
want.
of them,
That's what I want.
But most of the time, I'm having to like make my own.
Yeah.
And I hate making them, but now I'm like making them every week just to get rejected. And it's annoying as fuck. That's all. Long story short.
I mean, I guess, you know, thank God for like Canva.
That's
And
what
they're
I don't
just,
know what
like,
I would do without
Plug
Canva.
and play, like give me an aesthetic and I'll just drop some words in there.
And that's pretty much what I
Like,
do.
I'm not a graphic designer.
I have
yeah.
one pitch deck that another artist that my agency paid made, and I pretty much like change images and words.
That's smart.
For every other like thing that I pitch on, but I keep that same layout and format and font, and so that's pretty much all I do. But yeah, pitching, wow. Because I mean, I was talking to a friend about it, and he was like, I think in this world, you're going to get probably rejected from 90% of the things that you pitch on.
Yeah.
And so, it really does, like people say, don't take it personal. Well, maybe you don't, but it still just really hurts.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier.
And
That
you're
it's
talking
not
about like
possible
every other week.
Yeah.
You're getting
Yeah.
rejected. And it's like, oh no, but like it's cool because you are like, okay, you get to, you know, you're pitching on these huge projects. My friends are like, you're pitching on these big things. You're meeting with FX and you're meeting, and it's like, I cannot pay my bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep getting rejected, and the money from that one gig that I did 6 months ago is
dwindling.
almost gone. And no, it's exciting, yes, that I'm doing all of that, but like it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to hear no a lot. And also, like, we're inherently being asked to be honest and give away a bit of ourselves to make something good. And so then when people say no to that, you're like, oh, God, it's not them, it's me. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard not to take that personally, even though we're supposed to have a thick skin.
Right.
Yeah.
It hurts. Rejection, it does. So I feel you. If anybody feels you, I do. But I do think that you get to a place where the rejection is a little less than 90%.
I think, well, yeah, that would be great. But also I think like, and this I think is different than with a commercial job. You're like, I got it. This is the thing that I am doing. But like, if it's your own projects, I feel like juggling multiple things helps ease that a bit. Cause you're like, well, they didn't like that thing, but at least I'm also
I think it's just
spinning
being an
this
artist,
plate as well.
period.
Yeah.
It's always, finding more than one thing to juggle so that you're not putting all of this like energy.
I can't put all my
into
hopes
one.
on this
Yeah,
one
you
baby.
have to.
I need to have multiple children because some of them are going to be successful then. Some of them are going to be deadbeats, you know?
Yeah.
So
Just like having kids in the Old West,
Yeah,
like you
you
have
gotta-
a bunch because a bunch are going to get eaten by
some of
wolves
them
or
might get
whatever.
cholera.
Like, well,
You don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So you just gotta.
It's the same process.
You got it's a
That's
numbers game.
exactly. Yeah, it's like Finding Nemo.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. 100%.
Yeah. The only reason I had that pitch deck was because, I'm getting my master's, and that was one of the
That's awesome.
projects was to do the pitch deck.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's I don't. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it. Like I would. Like I wouldn't even know what to do. It's and Molly Coffey, who I'm sure,
Of course.
She's been actually. She talked on the show recently about all the pitching that she has to do as in the art department.
I heard that episode. I
Yeah.
didn't even consider that
Yeah.
she would also have to be pitching to
Yes.
work on
And
these shows.
The amount of work she does to get rejected, I think, is maybe even more than I do
Yeah.
as a screenwriter, because she comes up with these like full worlds, and she's like, "How about this?" And they're like,
nah.
"Nah."
Right.
Yeah.
And then what type of
what?
job do you have that allows you to put together pitch decks like that?
Yeah.
So
mean,
everyone's
what
like,
other
just get
industry-
everyone's like, get a full-time job. And
Exactly.
it's like, but then like these pitch decks, I will,
When are you
like,
gonna have time?
I won't.
Yeah,
I
that's
will
Yeah.
not have time.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh.
Like you said earlier, you got to be independently wealthy to
Yes.
get into the industry, and we always thought it was the reverse. Like,
Yes.
oh well, we'll be creative and awesome, and then we'll get rich, and that does not
Yeah,
seem to be happening.
I need a royal sponsorship or something. I need some independently wealthy individual to take an interest in me
That's what I've been
and just
wanting.
fund my projects. You
Yes.
know, I've started to, so like I sometimes I think about making a film as like just like a really expensive painting. Like I know we're supposed to think
Yes.
about film, and I understand the film industry is commercial and blah 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 blah. But like when you're making an independent film, the thing that makes it good is that it's unique and interesting. And like if you're trying to shoot for like the most commercial thing, like the pool is too big. There's
Yes.
too many of those, so you just got to be you, right? So I often ask myself like why couldn't I have been a painter? If I was a painter, I could just go out and buy paints.
Yeah.
Why do I have to do this thing that costs like hundreds of thousands or up to $1 million, and
You
I
have
gotta
to rely on so
hire all
many
the
people.
like why
yeah,
couldn't I
yeah.
just be a painter? I love that aspect of it though. I love all the people. I love the collaborative part of it. But God, why does it cost so much money?
It costs so much.
Like why?
That's really great though, just approaching it like that. Because when you paint a painting, it's not always like I'm going to sell this and get rich. It's like
You might not.
I paint
It might
this-
sit on a shelf.
or most of this. If you go downstairs and see all those paintings on the wall, most of those are my wife's. She just paints. She paints stuff and doesn't expect to just like I'm going to go sell this and be a millionaire.
Yeah,
Just
like
I
Hollywood
wanna
may
create
not
stuff.
want this painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be part of Hollywood to be to enjoy painting. At this
Right.
point, I'm not
Yeah.
even like I don't even need acceptance into the system. I
Yeah.
don't need that. I actually feel like I'd rather just be left alone. But what I do need is at least someone with some money somewhere
Yes.
to take an interest, just so that I can pay for these expensive paintings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's where Film Impact Georgia came from. That it really should be coming from the state of Georgia. Like the tax
Yes.
incentives are great and everything, but there should be.
Yeah, like when are you
and
going
a
to
lot
put
of
that
other-
money back into the community?
Yes, a lot of
Yeah.
other states and countries that have these programs also have money go to like Canada was pretty big for it for a while.
Yeah.
Like here's some money, David Cronenberg.
Yes.
Go make what weird shit.
Many
that you're gonna
European
make.
countries have
Yeah.
Yes.
the state funded.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Georgia just doesn't have anything like that.
No,
No.
but they love talking about what movies are being filmed in
Yeah.
Georgia. And it's like, but how do we like support the talent that is in Georgia?
The immense talent.
The
Yeah.
immense.
Yeah.
That's so evidable last night. So yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. There's a lot of people in town that I just don't understand why they're not more famous.
It's nuts. Like I'll see these incredible actors, incredible Atlanta actors, and they have like 2 lines on a Marvel show.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for them that they got booked that gig. Like I don't want to demean that gig
Right.
in any way. What I'm saying is these guys
No.
should be a regular. Like they are so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And it's really hard to get the attention of the power. They are so focused on their community in Los Angeles, and they want to ship people out here. And like, there's so much goodness already here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I'm excited for them, but also I'm like, I wish you were on screen longer. Like, come back.
Right.
Like, I want to see you.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think would, because you can understand why, we tend to use the same people in our shoots.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the people
Yes.
in LA. Like, oh, hey, buddy, that I've worked with,
Well,
for
they've got a
20
whole
years.
system, a whole infrastructure there.
Yeah. So
Until there's development here,
And that's
until
what I was
the
gonna
development
say.
is here,
Mm-hmm.
and the money, until the shows are being developed here and not just developed there and brought here to shoot.
Yes.
I mean, it's the same conundrum for post production as well. Like, they're certainly doing some post here, but a lot of the post is, processing dailies and stuff, and they're shipping everything back to LA when they're done. And
Right,
this is a
yeah.
shooting location. So
That's all.
until the development is here, I feel like there are no opportunities for writers. There's not enough. There's no writers' rooms. The actors are getting fewer opportunities, and even in post production, they're not cutting, Ironheart here.
Yeah.
To my knowledge,
I think it goes back to what you were saying, Chuck, about like Georgia giving money to filmmakers here.
Yes.
If a filmmaker here created a film that was just so undeniably well and went to these awards and, it's sweeping at, the Spirit Awards and it's sweeping at all these places, a feature.
Yeah.
I think it would force LA and all these places to kind of pay attention to what is, I don't know, the homegrown talent
Yes.
of Georgia. But until that happens, like right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to leave Atlanta.
Ah,
I know
everyone
that's
does,
what
and it makes me so sad.
not Molly. That's what Melissa just said to me too. But I'm gonna have to leave. I am not getting anything here.
I believe it. I mean, I've seen so many other people who are very talented have to leave here and go to LA. Go to LA, they go there, and then they can come back and work here.
I'm coming
but
back.
they got to go there first.
I'm coming back, but I spent
Or
a
they
month.
stay over there.
I spent a month in LA last month.
The jobs just aren't here. If you're a writer, if
People
you're making films.
They were just like, oh my gosh! I had a meeting at FX. I had a meeting at Netflix. They were just generals, but like. It was movement unlike anything I'd ever experienced. I'm about to sign a development deal.
That's incredible.
Oh, man.
Because I
Congratulations.
spent 1 month in LA.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because they want everybody to be there. And that's it's the getting the coffee. And
I'm
it's
like, oh my
the
God.
meeting the people. It's like you have to be entrenched in the community in some way.
So I'll tell you all
completely
more
understand.
about the development deal
That's
when we get
amazing.
off. I don't want to say anything publicly
Yeah, of
until
course. Yeah.
everything is signed, but it's
Yeah.
really exciting.
Yeah.
But we can do stuff like that here in Georgia.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
just feel like the people that can make that stuff happen are not doing it.
They're not. They're courting the outside
They
productions, and I totally understand big business and money talks and all that stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, until the stuff is being developed here, it's not like we're just a way station.
And
we're
how
just
seriously,
we're just a shooting
like,
location.
How seriously will we be taken if we are always just waiting for stuff to come from LA? And LA is like the tax incentives we have here. LA is trying to like match that.
Yeah.
Makes
So that
sense.
everything like goes
Goes
back
back,
there.
yeah.
So it's really time for Georgia to get a little bit more focused on harvesting.
We have to be a
what
little
they
more
have.
self-sufficient.
We
for
have
sure.
to.
Or we're
Yes.
always going to be at the whim.
We're at the
yeah.
whim of them. And
Yeah.
LA is like, oh no. Let's
Come on back.
Come on back. So
Yeah, I had some meetings last year with some, at least one bank that I happen to know the president of, which is random, but they're trying to get into film finance and stuff. Had some pretty good meetings with that, but
Yeah.
nothing has happened yet, and not to say that it's not going to, but everything takes so long,
Yeah.
and they had a kind of a long list of particulars because it's scary. It's
Yeah.
a bank, and they're like, well, it's, a couple $1 million. It's just like,
Yeah.
hopefully something will come of that.
That's exciting.
so.
Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, Hollywood's had 100+ years of a head start on us, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I know.
And I don't think it's ever going to go away. Like, it's always going to be an episode. I mean, that's just, you know, like the system there is too entrenched in that, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, with the amount of content that is needed to sustain the appetite for, like, I mean, it does seem like it's coming to a head where it's bursting a bit at this point, the content bubble and the streaming and all of that. But the amount of content that is being created and digested right now, like, one single city cannot possibly sustain that, you know, nor do they need to, you know, like, and think about all the different kinds of stories and voices that we could have if we opened it up to something outside of that. System is working very well. Don't get me wrong. I'm watching all that stuff. I really am. But think about all the stories we're not hearing and all the stories we're not seeing because we've got this very narrow idea about what deserves money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's very specific stories coming from Georgia, being financed in Georgia, that could be told that are not going to be an LA story. You know, I'm impatient and I want to get there right now.
Same. Gosh, I just, you know, I wanted to. I see so much great stuff happening here, and I see so many great artists trying so hard, and I want to see them succeed.
Yeah, same.
I want their films to get made, and I want to sit in the audience and watch it because it's not something I'm being given right now. Like, it's not being given to me.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm fine just being in my corner, making my weird shit. I'm happy with that. But it is hard. Like, where do you get the resources, you know, to properly pay the people that deserve to be paid to work on these films?
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. What do you do right now in making your films right now? What's the process?
I am I'm like a squirrel, like hiding my acorns. I honestly, most of the stuff that I make, I have had to pay for it myself.
Yeah.
Like, I just put away, I put away a little bit of money every month. And I do freelance gigs on top of my regular job to try to put more money away. And I recognize that I'm a place in my life where I actually can afford to do that, which a lot of people can't do. So I self-finance most of my projects, and sometimes I'll do a crowdfunding campaign. I write for grants. I never get them. So there's that. But yeah, I have found a way to scale to a point where I know the budget range I can work in. It's not enough to make a feature, but I can make, I've been able to make shorts that way.
Yeah.
It is not enough to make a feature. So in order to take that next step, which I really want to do, I've got a couple of features that I've written that I feel really passionate about and I want to do them. But without any kind of outside financing, I don't see it happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I save up some money to create one of my shorts, I normally end up losing my freelance gig or something like that. And so then I have to survive off of the money that I've saved for the short. But I get really I don't have as much content as I wish I did. I have a web series. Sorry about that. I have my, I had another web series called The Girls Room. And then I have my short film Artistic. And I'm talking about, I made The Girls Room in 2017. Sorry about that, 2018. And Artistic in 2020. And now we're in 2023. And I still promote those three things. My life depends on it.
If you were a painter, people would be looking at that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I still. The money I got for them, for The Girls Room, I got $10K from Steve Harvey because I was friends with his son.
Amazing.
And sorry about that. We got $40K from one of the guy's parents. It was
nice.
Some money he had set aside, but he wanted to use that to create. Sorry about that. And then with Artistic, I actually got $50K for that because of the most insane. It's a really long story how I got that. I think did I talk about that on your podcast before?
I feel like you were on in 2019, or was
it was 2020?
It was the beginning of 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. You must have then.
I must have.
Yeah.
So it's a long story. So I get it in the most insane ways like ever. And so even for this one that we read the other day, I didn't know which. I had another short that I wanted to do, but I had some money set aside for that. And I had just a copywriting freelance gig that I'd been doing for the last couple of months, which has just been my like day job, but I lost it last week.
Oh, no.
And so the few $1,000s I had for my short is now like I'm back living off of it, but all I can trust is like the last time this happened to me,
The financing came.
I got $50K for
That's
the
great.
short film.
But it seems like
So,
you're getting
like,
a
I
little bit
was
more every
crying,
time.
but I'm
so it'll be
like,
more this time.
Maybe I don't even, if I get that much, I'm like keeping 25 for myself.
Perfect.
But it really just went to paying people. Like
Yes.
it
adds up.
it went. Yeah, when
Yeah.
everyone found out I had $50K for that, I got everyone's like full day rate, and that money went
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
fast
Yeah.
as shit. Everyone's like, you just made a 12-minute like regular, no special effects, like short film for $50K, and I was like, yeah, everyone like they knew that's how
it
much I
costs
had,
a lot of money.
and so everyone was like, this is my full day rate, and I was like, and that shit went fast.
Yes.
Oh.
That went. I was prepared to shoot artistic for $10K, and then when I got the $50K, like it literally, everyone's day rate. I mean, the DP was like $1,000 a day.
Yep.
Man, yeah.
Everyone. I was just like, oh, no homie discounts.
Yeah. They're like, you have money now.
Everyone's like, you have money. This is,
And I get it.
No, I wasn't mad about it. It was cool.
For sure.
Some filmmakers did kind of. I've been around filmmakers that tried to make me feel really shitty about that, though.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really strange.
Yeah. I've told a lot of filmmakers that I got $50K for that short, and they were like, that's all you did? I would have made a feature. You didn't make a sci-fi film. And I was like, well, I paid everyone their full day rate, and I made the movie I wanted. And they were like, I don't think that's smart.
I mean,
I'm like,
thing
oh
is,
my God.
the thing is, like, I've thought a lot about, I've actually been wrestling with this a lot in the last couple months, where I was like, okay, I need to fucking write something that is cheap in quotations and short in quotations, and like something I could reasonably scrape together enough money to make like a 70-page feature. And I tried. I've tried to write that script twice. I scrapped it and I started over, and I was like, I am so bored. I hate this. And I was like, you know what? I just need to make the thing that I can make right now, that I want to make right now. And I'm just going to have to trust and listen to that. I think it's incredible that you got that money, and then you were like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pay people
That's what I did.
for sure.
what they deserve,
What they're worth,
because when you can't pay the full rate and people are still willing
Well,
to
it was
work.
people that have worked for me
Exactly.
for like nothing.
They've worked for nothing, or they've worked for like, tier 0 or
Yes.
tier -5 or whatever tier we're on. Like they're there and they're like, I know that if you had the money, you would do it, and you did,
And I did.
that is admirable, because
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
cool. Because I
I'm
tell you, people
serious,
gave me a lot of shit.
this business people want to
and I was
squeeze
like, I don't
everybody
want to
dry.
make a feature for $50K.
Also, that's the other thing. Is like, I don't want to do that. It's not gonna
And then
be
they were
good.
like, "Oh, so you think a good director can make a feature for $50K?" And I'm like, if you can do that, like
Great.
I think that is amazing. But it would all need to take place in one location.
I know, and
I'm
I've
not
tried
that
writing
writer.
that. I'm not
I'm not that writer.
I have tried to write the 75 pages in an apartment with
In
2
an
characters, and I bore myself. Like, I'm sorry, everything
Okay.
I write has robots and Sasquatch and aliens in it,
yes.
and that's just who I am, and I'm gonna accept it.
Right. So,
And
I
so
bored myself. I was just like, I can't. So, okay, cool. Not that they like hurt my feelings or
I get
anything,
it.
but
I get it.
sometimes I don't like telling people that I got that amount because of some of the feedback while I was on the festival.
I think that's
circuit.
amazing.
And people will be like, "Well, we're in the same festival, and I made mine for $5,000."
Which maybe it's
like,
more about them than it is about
okay.
you. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not the person that's just like $50K.
Yeah.
I'm not. When people would come and talk to me, and I would just be like, Okay.
No,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Forget them. We're the definitive answer here in this
Right,
room.
yes.
And we say, great job paying
I mean,
everybody.
I feel like there's this prevailing idea out there that like just go make your feature, like
It
don't pay
is.
anyone. And I'm like, no, like these guys are killing themselves.
Yes.
These
For
crew
you.
people, but also not just for me, but these crew people that in this town who are very talented are killing themselves every week, getting no sleep. You know, and like the least I can do when they're coming on my independent film is to treat them decently and feed them and not overwork them
Not
and
overwork
pay them
them.
as much as I possibly can.
Right. Which goes back to the not overworking them.
Exactly.
Because if you cannot pay them what, they are worth, and you do realize that you aren't sleeping and all of that stuff, then maybe I shouldn't shoot my feature yet.
Yeah, if you made your feature for $5,000, like I guess congratulations, but what about everybody else who worked on the film? Because if you sell the movie, you get money, but what about these guys?
Yeah.
That gave you 12, 14, 20 days of their
Yeah.
life and didn't take other jobs,
Yeah.
to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And feeding, too, that's such an important thing.
Yeah.
John Pruner, who's shot a few of my things, he's always like, no pizza, no Subway. I'm like, yeah, no.
So they told me in film school, no pizza.
Yeah, no pizza, no Subway.
No Subways. I
yeah.
didn't know
And I
about
don't
that
wanna-
one.
And there
It's
are
real.
people out there who've made really wonderful films for like 40, 30, 50, whatever. It's about the project and it's about the scalability of the project. And if your project can be sustained that way and you can call in favors and you can
in
trade
favors,
work
yes.
or whatever you got to do to get it made, like I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that. I just know that whatever I wrote, it is not filmable for $50,000 a feature, the whatever I've written, and maybe that's my problem, but I tried and it didn't work.
Right. I think it's everyone just respecting where people are as artists.
Yes.
Because I never try. If someone tells me they made their feature for $50K, I would never just be like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
You should have waited until you got $1 million. So I just wish sometimes that the 50K feature people didn't come down on the short film people
Yes.
so hard, because
Yes.
they do, especially on Twitter.
Also, not
Yeah.
every short needs to be a feature, and that's a huge
Yes.
problem. I'm sure we could
Don't
name a
so-
bunch
don't
of
stretch
features.
that thing out.
I think short films are such a beautiful thing.
I agree.
Yeah,
And I don't think they all need to be
Cocaine
a
Bear
feature.
should have been a short.
We were talking about this, maybe it's a
I was
one note
like, is
joke.
that- should it have
It might
been
be a
short?
one note joke. So maybe it should have been a sketch.
Yeah. Cocaine. I'm sorry, but cocaine.
I mean, I didn't see it.
I have seen. Maybe this is part of me. I used to write for a website, Cheesy Movie Night, so you know where I'm coming from. I've seen everything of that ilk. Cocaine Bear was just okay. It was not as crazy as the name entails. If you want to see a fun, crazy horror movie, go see Megan.
I've heard that.
Especially it's on the unrated
And it seems like it's
version.
about something emotionally resonant as well.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
maybe
That
carries it
always-
through to a feature length.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Cocaine Bear, I think you said before, it was just it kind of wore itself out pretty quick. Like, oh, the bear's on cocaine.
Okay, he killed somebody else.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
How many times can you see a bear exhale cocaine
Yeah.
as a cloud?
Yeah.
You know?
It needed a real strong hand to make it just completely wacky. And
Yeah.
it just wasn't wacky enough. It did not need to be a feature. So not every movie needs to be a feature.
And I want to go back to what you said, which was that short films have value. And I understand that we know nobody thinks that short films have monetary value. We've all heard that. But artistically, I really love short films. When I go to a film festival, that's what I'm going to see. I want to see the shorts
I
blocks.
love the shorts blocks.
And last year, we had our film, Could This Have Been an Email, was actually did pretty well and was going to a lot of festivals. And so the best part of festivals is when they give you the pass and you can see as many films as you want. That's the best part. And I was thinking okay, this is the first time in a while I've had a film going to festivals, and I thought it was going to make me desire for something other than short films or desire some kind of tier above the place that I am. And what it really did was make me appreciate the cool weirdness of short films in a short block where you're Hollywood would never make something like this, but it's so cool and unique and interesting and has something to say. And I really love shorts.
I love them.
And I don't even care that they're not commercial or whatever, which is kind of weird considering how short our attention spans are. You'd think that there'd be a market
no.
for short films
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
But I love them. And there is an art to them, to creating a story that makes sense in that amount of time.
Art. It is. Wow.
It's a different structure, and there's a wrong way to do it. And it's not to take, like, pulling a scene out of your feature and making a film of it. That's a proof of concept. That's not a short film. You know, it has to be self-contained in some way. And if that's the way the story should be, it doesn't necessarily need to be another 50 or 60 pages.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, Brian Lanano, who was on with Ava last month, he's made a great career of making just this weird shit.
Yeah.
That's just like, oh, it's a dude with a crow hand, and it's like 3 minutes long, and that's it. It's just
I love that weird shit.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Yeah. That's all you
it.
need. Yeah, here's a little puppet giving a blowjob. All right, the end. All right, goodbye.
I saw that film. I listened to that episode. I saw that film at the Atlanta Film Festival. It was the Williams Tips for Giving Tricks for Treats or something like that.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the one that I saw.
I
yeah.
remember seeing that. I didn't. I mean, hearing that. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a sticker and a pin and all the Williams stuff. Yeah. Williams is great.
I loved listening to all of his different, because I haven't seen his other films, but all the other different, very unique, like, and that's the thing is, Hollywood's never going to make, well, maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe Adult Swim would have, rip Adult Swim. But like, the weirdness, those things that you see at a film festival that are so unique or regionally unique to that community are like really special.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I remember
love
seeing
short
one,
films.
A few years ago, there was a short horror film called Tickle Monster.
Oh God, that sounds horrifying.
It was
Tickling
so
is
good.
terrifying.
Yeah, and you could see what an executive watching this movie and going, "Oh, we need a feature," but it was like a setup to a joke. It was, and you can imagine what the Tickle Monster was doing, but it was just a setup and just punchline, boom, and just like that's it, you know, and that's all it needed to be.
Yeah,
that's all it needs to be.
It was perfect. It was, I
think it's okay.
Yeah,
just as that, and I think. More HBO has a lot of short films on their service. I think I don't know if we'll start to see other ones follow the wave or not. But
Shudder did that too. Shudder had a horror, I think a women directed horror festival that they have every year, if I remember right. Ooh. And they have a bunch of shorts on there. So Shudder's great if you like horror.
Yeah,
I mean, you absolutely have to have Shudder now.
You do.
Honestly, I think. It really surprised me. I know I didn't watch Quibi, so I can't really get into that whole mess. But like,
Rip Quibi.
It surprises me how shorts haven't caught on more in the current like kind of entertainment world that we're in. Because like, I'll put YouTube on and just like watch random videos for like. Sometimes you don't want to invest in a long form story, you know. And we really have become really accustomed to episodic content. And I mean, I don't even need to get into TikTok and the popularity of that, but like, so it's kind of surprising to me that there isn't more short form content like finding a place that's beyond the festival.
Because I watch the shorts you're talking about on Shudder.
Oh yeah,
I love watching the short films on there because sometimes even with horror, I don't want to commit to like watching like 90 minutes of just a lot of like brutalness,
right?
Or might
right
not
now.
be good.
At least
you may not like
it's not
it.
even good, but like I'll watch like 8 minutes of something on there, and I'm like, oh, this was nice.
That was bite sized. It was
bite-sized
just a little snack bite. You know, like actually, what are they snack size?
Hulu has bite sized horror.
Okay,
and it's something very similar where they took 12 women. And I don't know if I told you, but I'm on Project Greenlight.
Oh,
yeah.
They brought back, it doesn't come out. I don't know, HBO and Discovery, or I don't know what they're doing. So it was supposed to come out this month. They've pushed it back. But oh my gosh, like 5 girls that I got to meet this season of Project Greenlight, because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were like, well, women aren't good enough. And if they were, I don't know if you saw that on the last season.
No.
So the very last season, they were like talking, and they were like, someone was like, well, why are there no women here? They were like, there's one woman and she's connected to a directing duo with a man. And Matt Damon was like, well, if women were good enough, if Black people were good enough, they would be here, but they're not, and we've chosen the best. So basically the show got off, but now they brought it back, and they chose like
what are you doing, Matt Damon?
Tell me you don't understand your bias without telling me you don't understand your bias.
Yeah, but a lot of the same girls that were selected for that, it was 10 of us, but 5 of them also did the bite-sized tour on Hulu, and it was It was great.
I can just see
nice.
the PR person just
So
like having
good.
a heart attack every time.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
like,
No,
But they used it.
yeah.
That's why I was just like, I can't believe this made it
Oh, God.
to my TV
Oh,
screen.
my God. That's horrific. Well, I'm glad it led to
Yeah,
some good.
it did. So it's a lot of really cool women on that. But yeah,
Well, I'm going to have
That's
to
really
check
awesome.
that out.
Yeah, for sure.
well, it's not out yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
whenever it
yeah,
comes
I don't know.
out,
If,
yeah.
I hope it comes out. I
there was
really
a lot
do.
of there was a huge bloodbath over there at
There-
HBO Discovery.
Discovery's
Well, this reminds me of the
fucking
whole like
everything up.
Did you guys see when the it was like something from an investor meeting or something with Discovery and HBO, and during their investors meeting, it was something that leaked, like one of the graphics they were using, and it was about the difference between male viewers and female viewers. And
I
they
heard
had
people
this
talking
list
about it, but I
where it
didn't
was
see
like,
it.
men, lean in, like they want to lean in, they want something active, they want something narrative, and then like women, they like to lean back. They want to watch like nonfiction programming and like reality TV. And it was like, fuck you.
Well, and that's why they're
know?
that's why they started like axing like all of like the female led scripted content because Discovery really does feel like
Women lean
which
back.
is why all my friends are
They're
like
passive.
Project Greenlight might make it because it is a reality show.
God.
But yeah, but they've been axing a lot of the female led scripted content because they think women like reality.
Well, our fragile female brains cannot we can't wrap our heads around those complex narrative shows.
Only
That's
men
true.
like
Yeah,
Game
it
of
shrivels up your
Thrones.
uterus, I think, right? Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God.
Hilarious.
But yeah, Twitter really roasted them for that.
Yeah, Twitter will roast anyone for anything.
It's true. It's true. But sometimes it's for
they're
good.
right. Sometimes,
Yeah.
a lot of times, I like Twitter.
I do too. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Like when
I
I'm
have to follow
writing,
you.
I have to put my phone across the room so I don't just randomly stop in the middle of writing to check Twitter.
That's what I do.
It's bad. I have a sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking when I'm writing, it's just on my laptop, so I'll just switch over. I'm like, oh, who said what? I'm like, no, like switch back.
And it's not even productive.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally just retweeting pictures of Adam Driver. It's bad.
That's productive.
It's not. But like
why would
I'm
that
not
be
even on
productive?
There's a lot of,
screenwriting
like-
Twitter.
right.
Like
Oh,
I'm not
screenwriting
doing. I'm
Twitter
not
is
networking.
miserable.
I am just talking about stupid stuff.
Me too. Don't go to screenwriting.
I think that's what
Twitter
Twitter's
is
supposed to be
miserable
for,
me.
is for
That's
pictures
why
of Adam
I like
Driver.
it.
I just
Ugh,
watched
it's great.
that movie. This is where it ends.
Oh, this is where I leave you.
This is where I leave. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
glad
I've
you
seen
knew what I
like
was-
every one of Adam Driver's films. It's embarrassing.
He was so different in that.
Yes, he's
That
a
was one of
chameleon.
his like.
Connie Britton is in it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
She plays his girlfriend.
His therapist / girlfriend.
Slash girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
okay.
really enjoyed him in that movie.
Yeah. I enjoy him in every movie. It's embarrassing. I'm blushing.
Oh man, she has something Adam can drive.
Yes. Yes.
Well, obviously he listens to the show, so you know, like, when he hears this, he's going to reach out and be like, oh, I got to talk to that Nicole.
I would implode. Like the molecules in my body would just like completely separate and I would disappear from this earth.
No, I for real, I feel like that's what Twitter was made for. I mean, I signed up it was 2008 or whatever. It was like a year after it initially came out. And that's all. It was just garbage like that. And I was like, I follow MC Hammer, and he's like, oh, remember Hammer? You know, whatever.
That's
Yeah, I
that's
do
what's so
remember.
amazing about it. It's
that's-
the weirdest social space in existence.
It is and I think that's probably what's my favorite. And you don't have to
Yes.
get dressed up, and you don't have to like
No, you
edit
can't- no.
and look good. You
You're
can
not
just-
trying to impress anyone
you're not
on
trying to
Twitter.
just-
Like the person I am, like I still have Facebook because of all the family and people that are like
Of
on there,
course.
and it's like that's like my weird, like that's like my neighborhood, you know, like that's like when I have to talk to like normal people in my life that actually know me. On Twitter, I'm like a completely different person. Like that's the real me.
Like an animal on
I'm an
Twitter.
animal. I can just let myself be myself. I always feel bad when somebody meets me like in the professional world and then they follow me on Twitter and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like you are not going to
Disclaimer.
get anything worth anything here. Like it's just me. Like I had Twitter for a long time and didn't even use it. Honestly, it was when I discovered fan fiction. When I discovered fan fiction, the fan fiction writing community, that's when Twitter suddenly became suddenly became interesting. And so I'm following all these people writing fan fiction. I'm like, this is the world I want to live in. Just people making up dirty stories about their favorite characters.
Sonic the Hedgehog and Princess Peach getting together. Like, oh, we write about that.
You know what? Love can happen anywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the important thing.
Period.
So then when people follow me on Twitter and they think I'm going to be talking about filmmaking, I'm like, I'm sorry. You've come for me talking about Willow 24/7 and that's it. So you might as well unfollow me.
Willow.
It's so good. It's like a big hug.
Okay. Yes. I need to be hugged, so.
Oh, it's a good hug.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, the only other person I've heard talk about is my friend Aaron, who watched the pilot, and we went on a hike, multiple hours. All he talked about the whole time was how much he hated the pilot.
Oh, but I get that.
He kept coming up over and over, and he was like, I can't tell you how much I hate the pilot of Willow, guys. I'm like, oh, well.
You know, I feel sorry for him. I will say that while I loved the first couple episodes, I feel like it really hits its stride. Episode 3 is really great. Okay, so and then I was watching and I was like, I'm enjoying this. This is enjoyable. And then when they got to episode 4, I was like, I'm in. You guys can do whatever you want. Okay. I'm 100% yours.
Okay.
That's when I think it really I was like, okay, I get what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I kind of have that rule. Like I'll watch something for 4 episodes, and if you don't have me by 4 episodes, I'm out.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
I was watching recently, oh my gosh, it's the other apocalyptic show on HBO. No, it came out in 2020.
Chernobyl?
No. Oh my goodness, you guys.
Apocalyptic show
on.
But basically the first 3 even episodes, I'm like, this is terrible. But then the 4th episode, made sense of the first 3, and it's the most brilliant show I've watched.
That's what I love. I feel like a 4th episode
but I can't think of the name, and
turns it around.
I loved it so much, and now the name is leaving me.
Oh my gosh! Now I have to know.
Who's in it?
Oh yeah, that'll help.
That's the thing. Nobody's
Nobody's
in it. Danielle Deadweiler was in it. But it was before she was famous.
Okay.
It is called Station 11.
I've heard that's really good.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
I've heard that's really good.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen anything like it.
Wow. Okay.
All
right. I didn't know Danielle was in that. That's awesome.
My gosh. She's that show's so good.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
It really it changed my life.
I love it when a show does that.
It was just so good. The writing impeccable. The actors that they chose. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's just, wow, brilliant. Didn't receive a lot of love because it came out in 2020.
And everybody was like, this is too close to home.
And it was just way too close to home.
Yeah.
And so when The Last of Us came out, I saw a lot of tweets and people were like, if The Last of Us is too much for you, but you do like post-apocalyptic content, you should watch Station 11. So I watched it and just amazing. Amazing.
It's a ringing endorsement.
It's not about zombies, but it is post-apocalyptic. But yeah, you should watch it. Oof.
You know what's another show that gives you a hug? Speaking of HBO, Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I've heard that's great. Yeah.
I've watched it 3 times.
Oh.
Often, I know it sounds like I watch shows a lot.
I was about to say, you tend to rewatch
I do.
Shows, yeah.
Partially because I feel like there's so much you get on a rewatch, but also because when I see something I really like, I now need to recruit others to watch it. Yes. And so I'll end up watching it again because I'm now like, you come with me and watch this. And so I'll end up watching it again. But Our Flag Means Death is so funny and sweet and has one of the most incredible love stories. I was so pulled in by this show. You think on the surface, you're like, oh, it's a funny show about pirates. It's just a silly show about pirates. And in some ways it is. But it really came in there and gripped me in a way that I was not expecting. And it's so sweet and funny, and like the characters, like I want to just be with them. Like I want to just be with them all the time. That's when you know a show is good.
Yeah.
When you're like, I just want to spend more time with these characters. And so yeah, that's another one that if you're like, I need something to watch that's gonna make me feel, but also make me feel good, but then also make me feel like that's one I can say is a good one.
Nice. Well, I feel like that's a pretty good full circle conversation with like
Yeah.
favorite shows to favorite
Bring
shows.
it on home.
Yeah. Tell everybody where to find information on websites and social media and stuff. Speaking of Twitter, yes.
Yes, do not follow me on Twitter because unless you want to hear me talk about Adam Driver and Willow 24/7. But you can follow Critical Crop Top, which is my production company, at Critical Crop Top. I know it's an absurd name.
Love it.
We were like, let's just make something that's nonsense. So at Critical Crop Top, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can find out about any our films that are coming out, or if there's a reading of something, or the screening from Atlanta with Love that Ava and I are doing on March 29th at the Plaza Theater.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Nina?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Nina Serafina, NinaSerafina. And my this threw a lot of people off yesterday, but my avatar on both is Jane Lane from Daria.
Nice.
So that's how you know it's me.
Nice.
That's amazing. Well, thank you guys for coming today and doing the show. I really appreciated you coming out and talking with me and meeting each other officially. And,
Yeah, this was great.
I feel like this went really well.
Yeah,
So
thank
thanks
you.
again.
Really? Yes. Thank you, Chuck.
It was so fun. That was great. I enjoyed that very much. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Atlanta Film Chat. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. The show is produced by Tranquil Aggression Productions and Zombie Cat Productions. Your host is Chuck Thomas. Editing is by Joshua Goldkey. The soundtrack is by Michael Breezy Keys Jones. I am your humble announcer, Rob Scheimer. Remember, you are your own biggest fan. So go out, make your projects, and don't let anyone stop you.